Hello.
Hello. Hi. Hello, hello.
How are you?
All right. All over the place as always, but I think that's just normal for me.
Yeah, I know how you feel though. In, out, shake it all
Well,
about. What's the name of this dish?
that's what I'm saying. Recipe is called Marshoushe.
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 Mar, mar.
Marshoushe.
M-A-R, shushe.
Marshoushe.
So that is green with crushed wheat originally, and a bit of, well, not but lots of onions and squeeze of lemon. That's it.
Lovely.
And I like to see at the end, see how simple, but how tasty and easy and cooked. So I'm going to start just chopping my green, put them in the saucepan. Shall we go?
Yeah.
I'm keeping the stems because they're not very big.
Okay, and this could be it. So as you said, this could be spinach, chard. I've got some spring greens. What else have you got there? Some beetroot roots.
As I said, originally it's spinach if it's in the season, or in the spring people forage for whatever green you can find in the fields around you. Now, I use any edible green. So I've got here a bit of chard from my garden, the end of it towards, and beetroot leaf. Now, I add beetroot leaf to all my green things because it gives it a bit of color also. And it's just a nice, easy to access green, and we don't waste when we have the beetroots. So, all in the saucepan, just as simple as that. There is no rule to how big or how small you chop. I think that is one of those recipes that is nice at any time of the year, but also now time when all allotment and garden are pouring over with this. They have a lot. Okay. It's going to on the heat. Let's bring it to the boil and we turn it down.
We've got a little bit of water in the bottom of that pan.
Yeah.
And
because it will ooze. Yeah. Lid on.
Lid on.
Lid on. And I'm going to, as I said, let it, once I hear it boiling, I will turn it down because we don't want it to burn. But in the meantime, what we can do is the job, is the therapeutic job.
Okay, onions.
Yeah, I'm having, because I only got a bit, I'm having 2 big ones. Your children went back to school?
They're back at school. They've been phenomenal. Their resilience going back to school has been amazing after such a transition time. So I'm very, very proud of them. I was just thinking about these greens. I was thinking from a nutritional point of view.
Yeah.
You know, we often think of greens as being we think Popeye, don't we, and a source of iron.
Yeah.
But not many people know that actually greens like spinach, collard greens like I'm using today, kale, are actually also a source of calcium.
You know what? I think going back about talking about, as you know, I'm not fan of diets anyway, and I don't believe in something called superfood either.
No, I don't either.
I'm just going to check on my, yeah. I'm just going to turn it a bit, turn it down a bit.
And mine down too, yeah.
And back to the onions. I know spinach is very good, but doesn't give you a Popeye muscles in a way, does it? To me, the superfood is the most variety you can put together.
Absolutely, absolutely, Wafaa. There is no single food that has any kind of like magic halo status. There are foods that have a mixture of nutritional density. And the other thing is we forget, and I think a lot nowadays with social media, is that people reduce foods to like one part of their structure. So everyone's like, oh, eat all your berries because they're full of antioxidants, and they forget that actually all fruit and vegetables give you polyphenols, they give you antioxidants, and as you say, exactly that. So the more varied our diet, the more colour we get in it, more likely we are to be getting everything we need. And we don't need to be buying super goji berries or, you know, any such whatnot. Just just eating 5 a day is a good place to start.
It's at the course I've done, the public speaking, I talk about the fashion in food. That was the topic I wanted to practice on. And it's amazing how much we follow fashion. And there is nothing wrong with that, as long as we don't fall for the trap of the marketing, of what they can get money out of us for the wrong reason, in a way. You know, it's all those sort of broccoli and all of those, they're all very good food, but there is nothing super about them. It's one of other things we need to consume. And it's not difficult at all.
No, and it doesn't need to be difficult. And I think people forget as well, they think healthy needs to be organic and it needs to be fresh and bought from the market and all of those things. And absolutely, it's great when we can eat organically from an environmental point of view, but actually that's something that comes from a really privileged place. And actually it's much more important you just eat your fruit and veg. And you know, it's not a big deal if it's not organic. And equally, frozen is great, tinned is great, they're more economical, there's less waste, they're preserved longer. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If we get things from tins, because they're cooked in their tin, so there is nothing to spoil them in a way. Give your green a little mix.
Okay. Ooh.
Make sure you have a drop of water so they don't stick.
No, good. It smells lovely.
Okay.
And it's such a quick thing to cook, isn't it, greens? I mean, they wilt down in no time at all.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so versatile. You can make them like salad. You can make like this dish. It can be lunch on its own. It can be a side dish. You can add the green to your soup. You can chop it to your salad.
Yeah. Add it to curry.
I'm not a hot food person. So.
But that's a good example of having something for. I always talk to my clients about you don't have to create perfect meals. Okay, they don't have to be perfect, but you can ask yourself the question: how can I make this just a little bit better?
Extra.
Yeah. One of the ways of doing that is exactly as you said, just throwing another handful in, going in the fridge and going, oh, actually, I've got that bit of spinach. I'll throw that in too, or I'll just chop that bit of beetroot and have it on the side. It's what are these tiny things we can just add back into our diet. Because that's the other thing. I get really tired of diet industry talking about all the things you shouldn't and shouldn't have. You know, take that out of your diet. Don't eat this. Actually, let's talk about what we can add in. Let's talk about the good stuff going in, not taking stuff out.
Absolutely. You see, I think my mantra, if there is a mantra in food, and that is not based on my life experience, on my mom simple cooking, and what I found people also appreciate is very few elements that we need for a very good healthy eating. Is we need to eat fresh, we need to eat versatile, and we need to enjoy. Oh, poor you, are you crying?
Yeah,
did I make you cry?
Come out the wash. It's the thing that's happening. My eyes are watering. Yeah.
Okay.
Strong onions today. Strong onions. So,
all right.
Have I cut my onions correctly? I've cut them into like little wings. Is that right?
That's what. Absolutely, little slices wing. For this one, for this recipe, they need to be. So you want to see them, so you want them quite sliced, long way. You see. So just a slice. Bit of oil at the saucepan, at the frying pan to caramelize them. And I would turn under the heat, under the greens. Turn it off and keep it to steaming.
Okay.
Actually, when I was thinking, when I was talking about what we'll do, I just thought of so many other recipes. I wonder if we can make it once a month, a regular thing, or once every 2 weeks.
I love that, Wafaa.
Because there is so many recipes I love to share, you know, because they're quick, tasty, simple.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
The simplicity of things, nothing needs to be complicated.
Traditionally, I'm here with one eye, traditionally, would this be eaten as a side dish? How would this be eaten? In what context?
Well, it can be lunch,
Yeah.
Mainly it's lunch, and in the season lunch, or if you have leftover from a meal or something and you want to just something on the side, that's what you do. Lunch with a bit of bread. If you want to jazz it up, you can put of chips or roasted potatoes, or salad, just a little salad. That's what I actually have ready here in my from also. I don't want to show off, but I've got tomatoes from my garden.
Oh, gorgeous.
But any cucumber, so you can do or a salad or just put it on the side, just chop it on the side. Okay, while the onions start to soften a bit, I'm going to empty the green in a strainer. Run over it cold water, perfect. Run cold water over them. You can always have a steam effect, so you have a facial at the same time. So run cold water over the strainers to cool them down quickly. And leave them to drain a bit.
Okay, leaving them to drain.
Now, the use of onion is also not only the flavor, as we know, it's also very good for viruses and for germs and to help the body fight. That's also another bonus, but it tastes lovely.
Alliums, that's the word for onions and garlic and spring onions. They're part of the allium.
Lemon juice. I'll tell you what, lemon juice. I think at one of my cookery, online cookery sort of, I wouldn't say class, it was a class, but people sat and ate at the end, all of us on the screen. One family had 2 boys with them. They were taking part. And they said I should be responsible for the shortage of lemons in the country because I use lemon on everything. So keep an eye on the onions, but let's squeeze the lemon.
I was going to ask you a question, Wafaa. In Lebanese cooking, so as we shift into autumn here, my mindset changes. I move away from salads and I start thinking about stews and casseroles and soups and warming food. In Lebanese cooking, is it seasonal in the same way? Is there like a shift in time of year as the kind of foods that are eaten?
Yeah, there is recipes, sort of casserole thing, but you do them winter and summer. But certainly there is more soupy thing. There is more soup in winter. There is more salad in the spring and in summer. Because the heat, you have to have lighter. But let's say as a main meal, which people do all over the year, all across in the season, example, peas, carrots cooked with, you can do them vegetarian or you can do them with meat and cooked in tomato sauce, and you serve them with rice on the side. That can be done any time of the year, although it has a bit of liquid in it. So it depends, but of course, when it comes to winter, certainly there's more soup because we need the warmth, yeah, and we need the earthy nutrition more. I think our bodies need more earthiness and more like nuts and pulses and things more in winter. We feel like we need that more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to drain now the water out of the crushed wheat, my crushed wheat. As much as you can get rid of the water will be good. And then I'm going to squeeze the water out of the spinach and add it to the crushed wheat.
Okay, so just for those right at the beginning, Wafaa put a handful of crushed wheat in a bowl with a little bit of water over the top. Now, is crushed wheat easy to buy? What would people be looking for in the supermarket? Is it normally called bulgur?
The crushed wheat, bulgur wheat and crushed wheat. If you see, let me show you. The crushed wheat is dark, so it has the skin on. Okay. It's dark, while the bulgur wheat is lighter in color because the skin being taken off. Okay. So that's from nutritional value, that's where the difference is. Yeah. But also the crushed wheat is very fine, is really much finer, so it's quicker. And as I said, that's 2 minutes. We use it in salads, we use it in soup. I'll just show you when I get the water so I don't spill it on the floor. It adds nuttiness to the dish. It's not as easy to get as much as the bulgur wheat. The bulgur wheat is easy to get. That is the crushed wheat. It's mainly in Middle Eastern Indian shops.
Okay.
I get it from Bristol, but you can get it online. Some people call it crushed wheat. Some people call it cracked wheat.
Add nuttiness and texture. Now, I didn't have any. I'm using couscous, aren't I? Because that's what I've got. But there we go.
Yeah. I'm going to squeeze the water out of the green. Did you run cold water on it?
Yes, I did.
Keeping an eye on the onions because we don't want them burnt. We want them caramelized. I turned my thing on down. Okay, so you take your green in your hands and you squeeze over the strainer. There we go. So I'm just squeezing the liquid out.
Oh, you forget how much liquid greens hold, like spinach, so much water.
So when I eat it in salad, when it's not cooked, all this hydration is going in. And I'm going to fluff it into the dish, just over the crushed wheat or the bulgur wheat. Just fluff it up, take it away, bits and pieces, and do the rest.
Right, I'm just going to add my bit of couscous that I've got to that same bowl. Now my couscous has already got some Moroccan spices in it, but would this normally be sort of unspiced? Would you add any spices to it ever, this dish, or no? No.
Because I think you will find there is enough flavors, but there is simple ones. So you don't need to overwhelm it. There is the spinach, you have the onion, you have the nuttiness of the wheat, and lemon. So I think that's plenty enough for, it works well. So why add more just because we have things?
So true. So true.
I think I'm going to turn off under my onions. I don't want them burnt. So can I show you? You want to see the color?
Oh yeah, mine match. That's good.
That's it.
Mine looks similar.
What will be nice, yeah, a little bit more maybe for yours, because you want a few that are nice and crispy, but you want few one that tender, so you have the sweetness and the crispiness.
And I can see you're squeezing your lemon juice there.
Now, with the lemons, it's personal. I like to taste it. I like the flavor of lemon, but I would suggest for something, it depends how much. I'm making only a small dish. So if you're making a small quantity, start with half a lemon. If you want more, add. If you're doing for more, I thought you have a bigger family, so you might want more. I would start with half because the lemon is just a little undertone in this recipe.
I was going to say, I think one of my favourite salad dressings, or my kids' favourite salad dressings, is literally just extra virgin olive oil and lemon juice. Straight. And that's...
If you want to, I'll tell you, yeah. And what our traditional dressing is, and we don't buy dressing in bottles, our traditional is crushed garlic, lemon juice, and olive oil. That goes on quite lots of recipes. Yeah. But as I said, sometimes we replace the lemon juice with vinegar. Sometimes we replace it with yogurt. It depends on the recipe, but that is the most popular dressing ever. And it's fresh. You got all the lemon, the garlic, and the olive oil. So
delicious. I was going to ask you, Wafaa, have you got any more events coming up? Have you got any more cooking events online?
As you know, most of the physical events are really not happening. And I had, unfortunately, I had 2 birthdays coming to the area from far, but because there are 10 people, they had to be cancelled. So what's going on at the moment is my cookery classes online. So it's lunchtime once a month, and then there is the virtual dinner where one Saturday a month, people sign up. I email the ingredients, and we all cook online like we're doing now, and then we sit and eat at the end at the table, all on screen. And the variation I have people on their own, I have couples, I have people with children, the whole family sitting down, family with a teenager. It's really, really amazing. So yeah,
special, and that is something I think that's come out of all of this strange time, is how we've discovered different ways of connecting with people, and connecting with people who, and I know you've spoken about this a lot to me personally in the past, that in your culture, it would be usual for someone to knock on the door and invite them into your home and sit them down and feed them. And, you know, whereas here we tend to keep the door shut and the window shut, and we tend to go out when we're entertaining in normal circumstances, of course. But there's something so lovely about what you're doing, in that we're inviting strangers, in effect, into each other's homes and connecting and finding relationships with other people in different ways around food. And that's it's so beautiful on so many different levels and so rewarding.
It is. That's the feedback I get. People, you know, even if you're on screen, you're still meeting with strangers in a way, but that's the exciting bit. You're hearing people alternate, if they haven't got an ingredient, what do they do? But also people who felt like they're connecting with others. They're really, not only they're learning, if you run out of something, what do you do instead? Because sometimes it happened, although they have the list, they couldn't get it or whatever. Can I do that? And then they say, oh, that worked, that, you know, things like this. But people had the chats with each other, they exchanged jokes, and what I was very, very touched with is I had people from London, from Warwickshire, from Devon, Somerset, Wiltshire, and another county, I don't know where it was. So it's brought us really, although it's a very unusual time, but when we want to connect, we can. And nothing brings people together like food. Absolutely, absolutely nothing. Because that's why wherever there is a gathering, there is food. But then the quality of the food or the variety of the food make big difference. You remember that. You know, you go to a meeting, you don't remember everyone was there, but you remember what you ate.
And that's so true. And I think something that I've been discussed, two things there. One is the importance of relationships and connecting with people for our health. We forget that social part is a really important part of feeling and being healthy. And the other part of that is that we've disconnected from eating experiences. What we've done is we've learned that eating is something that we do out of duty, or we eat what the diet plan says, or we eat that because it's low fat, or we eat that because, you know, that's what we think we should be eating. And we forget that actually eating is an experience, and it's so much more, isn't it? And you do these amazing, when we're out of COVID, I've seen you do the amazing kind of like pop-up restaurants where everyone's sat outside and under fairy lights, and you're there belly dancing, and food is part of that, and the good food is memorable, but it's an element of it, isn't it, of that whole experience.
You know, one thing about the food is about giving it time, enjoying it. It's not, as you said, it's not a duty. We all have to eat to live, but there is difference between, well, that's what happened the last few years, where we all eat, most people were eating from a box or in a microwave quickly, and that sometimes is okay. If you have to, it's okay, but the reality, it's to enjoy the food. I believe, that's my own belief, I don't know how it fits with everything going on, but if you eat a piece of cake and you think, oh, I'm going, you know, that's bad for me, it will be bad for you. If you eat a piece of cake and you think, wow, that was amazing, it's okay. You know what I mean? If how you think about the food affect how it benefits you anyway.
So true. And so true.
If you fancy something, eat it. No one of us eat cake all day or whatever, but there is something about the variety of things. And I'm going to repeat what I just said. My motto in food is, and that's very simple, basic, on my mom who passed away, God, 40 years, and she was, so old thing, food is not a new invention. We've been eating since we existed. But the more simple and so it's about, let me repeat. So eat fresh as much as possible. Eat versatile, so change different, put different element, different colors, different variety of ingredients, and enjoy your food. That's all what we need. Is give it time, sit, eat it, and share it. We need to share it.
Yes, we do. And it goes back to even like your dish. You're saying, let the simple flavors sing. Don't overcomplicate your relationship with food. It's just saying, enjoy it, get variety, balance, moderation. Simple as that. Really, for everything. Yeah, definitely.
And talking of that, we're ready to mix and eat. So let's get going. Crushed wheat or your thing is in the bowl, and I've got the green on top. I'm going to give them a good mix. I put the lemon also in. I added the lemon straight in. A bit of salt, just bring things together. Now we're going to add the onions, and if you want to just leave a little bit to put a blob in the middle just for decorating, but that's an option. So I'm going to add all the onion and leave just a little bit for the top. And as always, I like to taste if it needs a bit more lemon, it needs a bit more salt, it needs whatever. I'm just going to have a quick taste. Well, for me, as you can guess, just an extra squeeze of lemon, just because I like that.
That's really good.
I left a few onions to put on the top, just in the blob in the middle. And I'm just going to chop a couple of tomatoes on the side. Well, this recipe, we're going to be making this on my virtual Flavors of Lebanon dinner this Saturday. Oh. So we're doing this recipe. That's one of the recipes we will be making.
What else will you be cooking?
Oh, we're doing a dish with potato, which I thought maybe we could do again. Very nice dish with potato and basil and red onions.
Ooh, yummy, yeah.
Very nice, very nice. And we're doing, what else? We're doing something else. And then we're cooking with fish and tahini.
Oh, yum. Because you know what?
Very nice.
I only ever think of tahini as something I add to hummus.
Yeah.
To think of other ways of using it would be great.
Look at this. Look.
Oh, that looks delicious and very professional. Mine is.
I'm going to take a picture, actually. Look at them.
But it does yummy and it tastes very good.
Have you had the taste yet?
No, I did have a little taste. Yeah, it was delicious. My tummy is already rumbling. This would be delicious with some fish, wouldn't it?
As a side dish, it goes with lots of things. It's vegetables, it's fresh, it's flavored. But to me, that is a lunch. That is a lunch in its own right, you know?
I'm going to have that for my lunch.
I would, you know, if you want the time, I can do salad with the cucumber and tomato or whatever you have on this in your fridge, in your garden. Will go very nicely. Bit of garlic, lemon juice, and olive oil on the salad, and perfect. So, bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Or, as they say in Arabic, sahtain. See, sahtain.
Sahtain.
Sahtain is wishing you excuse me, is wishing you health twice.
And that's it. We should be focusing on food for what it can bring to the table for health. It's social and it gives us nutrition, but also cooking in itself can be a really mindful act. It could be something you put your phone away, you put your work away, you're in the kitchen, you're preparing a dish, you're fully present. That in itself can really help be a stress reliever. Cooking should be something that's enjoyable, shouldn't it?
Yeah. You see, when we say health, as you were saying, health is not just about what we put in our belly and goes into vitamins and things. That is important, but mental health is when you cook, you are, as you said, you're present, you're creating, and you're feeding your soul, not just your body. And that's where, and it's extra element, and that's when you share it. It become, and you know, not everybody can invite everyone every day, of course not. So you can do that for yourself, you can do that for your family, but you're not just feeding your body, you're feeding your mind, you're feeding your soul. And that's where the joy comes in. That's the joy. And if possible, share. Absolutely. And early on, when you said about people close their doors here or they go out to eat, there is nothing, it doesn't have to be 3 weeks or 3 months in the diary to meet up with a friend. You know, we're all busy, we all work, but you can always find a bit of time, and you don't need to work hard. There is no showing off. There is no pretense in a way. Whatever you have, is just share it, and that brings us together as a human. That's very, very important.
Human connection, 100%. And you know, my sister and I did something the other day. We were both cooking dinner, and we FaceTimed each other, and we cooked with each other. So we were sharing, she was cooking something different, but we were chatting and doing that act together.
Yeah.
And it was so lovely. It just becomes a, as you say, just thinking about that
connection.
Yeah, connection. And also I think we fall into the trap, don't we, of seeing cooking as this another thing on the to-do list. It's like, I've got to go into the kitchen, I've got to cook dinner. And I always say to my clients about trying to use that time as a way of giving back to yourself. So I tend to always get out of my clothes, not naked cooking, but I put comfortable clothes on. It's a whole different thing, naked cooking. Comfortable clothes on, I tie my hair back, I sometimes put music on, or I put a podcast on, and I use that time actually as a break from everything else. It doesn't have to be, it's reframing it, isn't it? It's putting it into a different, thinking of it in a different way, that it's not just another thing like putting the washing on or getting the washing on the line. It's positive.
It's not a duty, we have to do it, but it can be, if you change the way you look at it, it's not a duty. It becomes your own time, and it is creative. Food is very, very creative. So it's like painting, like singing, like dancing, like all of that. It just, you create, you're creating something from other things. And that's the way to look at it. That's the way to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we have preached today is absolutely.
How long it took us, Rosie, to put that together? Now, we talked most of the time, I guess.
No time. But if we'd been concentrating, what would it have been? 10 minutes?
Yeah. If you have leftover, you can put it in your lunchbox. One thing I was going to say, my husband, it's another point. I was with friends yesterday, and we were discussing how if people don't like lots of food, some people don't like this and don't like that. And as we're feeding as a family or as a mother or as a friend, if you're forced or you make it like they have to eat, you're taking the joy of it and it becomes a problem. My husband doesn't eat most of them. He doesn't eat vegetables. He doesn't like them. My son is like him. And I was very, very, I was very, not careful. I was very, I can't find the word, that I would never make a problem of it. Now, my husband eats only 3 vegetables. So I make sure those are available. Every now and again, I will sneak something in a tomato sauce without making it a problem. You know what I mean? And I think there is something, the more you make the food a problem, it becomes a problem. It has to be enjoyed. If you enjoy, you benefit more of it. And that is really important. And I guess with your client, you come across children who don't eat this and don't eat that a lot, do you?
Absolutely. And one of the things I say, one of the first things I say to my clients as parents, because they get worried. They're worried that their children aren't eating all these foods, especially as they get all these messages, your child should be having hummus and they should be having this and having that. And I say the first thing we do is we take the pressure away from the table. We stop meal times being a battleground and being anxiety driven, because as you say, that's what stops the child from wanting to engage with food. It becomes something to be feared. So we just let them, I always say it's division of responsibility. As parents, you are in charge of the what, the where, and the when, but your children are in charge of how much of that they want to eat. And you expose them to it, as you do with not your husband's child, you always make sure there's food on the table that they're going to eat. And then you give them an opportunity to learn and explore other foods without pressure. So it might be that it's a shared dish in the middle of the table, and they might try it one day. And if you make no comment, if you don't, just try it. The worst thing is just try a bit, just, you imagine someone coming at you with a fork with food that from a sensory point of view you're really not interested in. It's so amazing how many times if you take that pressure off the situation, you take that pressure away from the table, the child then feels far more comfortable and confident to try new foods. So yeah, and I always say to my parents, when you always bring them to the table, because it's about more than the food, it's about family and connection. But don't talk about their eating. Talk about everything else. Talk about their day. Talk about daddy's day at work. Talk about all sorts of things, but don't talk about what they're doing with the food on their plate. And they'll probably quietly just on and eat it. And it's simple, and it's people think almost think it's too simple a solution, but it works.
Yeah.
It really does.
But
work.
also, if they don't eat it now, or they don't like it now, that's okay. Because I didn't like aubergine when I was young. I ate it because it was cooked, and that's what was on the food, and I was never forced. But that was what is there, so you eat. I never liked it. But now I can't wait to put my hand on an aubergine and however I can cook it. As we grow and we are exposed to friends, to different places, we do change. So it's okay for a while not to like that. They will, something do change. And I don't think anybody will die if you don't eat aubergine all your life. You know what I mean? So it's about putting things in place. So yeah, it has to be, we go back to the joy, to the enjoyment, and to make it light at the table. To sit at the table is about sharing it with a friend, with a family, with a dad, with whoever. And that brings it. When you're with better people, you eat without thinking much, because you're enjoying, you're talking. And that's the thing I really would like to see more and more of, because I think we lost the joy of food. And we became very mechanical, what we want. You should eat this and you should do that and you should do it this way. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you agree. That's good.
Yeah, we totally agree. And the science, there is science behind that, in that our taste buds, when we're children, are attuned for really sweet things, because carbohydrates and sugar meant, because we were growing so rapidly, that when we were foraging and we could get hold of berries and fruit, they were really energy dense foods, which meant that we survived and we grew. So that's why children are primed to like sweet things. But taste buds, they don't regenerate. So as we get older, we lose more and more of them, and therefore we begin to favour stronger flavoured foods. So we begin to like more bitter, sour, salty, and when they say taste buds maturing, actually it's because your taste buds are reducing. To get enjoyment and satisfaction from your food, you prefer stronger flavours, which is why we grow up to like coffee and red wine and aubergines and all of those things. So it's just about giving them time, and they'll get there. Delicious. I've thoroughly enjoyed my lunch.
That was really, really nice. Thank you for that. I really enjoyed it. And let's make more food together.
I'd love to do that. That would be fabulous. Thank you, Wafaa.